What is going on? I'm going to go ahead and try to do this live. I wasn't able to go live Monday. Can you guys in the chat please let me know if you can hear me? Because I have no mic. I'm actually in a hotel. I'm out of town in Pennsylvania. Out of town for a night with my wife. So somebody in the chat, Michael Ham, what's up? Blue Thunder TD, Stephen Ryan. When you guys let me know if you can hear me good enough? And I don't know how long I'm going to be able to go because, like I said, I'm in a hotel lobby on the second floor, just kind of chilling by myself. I don't know if it's going to be noisy in here. I don't know, even if you guys can hear me. So PSA Slab Guy says, let's not talk about the PWCC news. Had enough of that lately. Yeah, I didn't do a video on that because I knew that there would be a lot of videos out there. Now, I will do a small video on it because my viewers probably, like to know my opinion to an extent. So at least I'll give them my opinion, not necessarily breaking news on it, but how I feel it may affect the hobby, or how do I feel about eBay's approach to it, or PWCC's defense to it, or whatever. I'll give my thoughts on that. But as far as saying news flash, it's no longer a news flash. Yeah, it's not a news flash. I'm just here to talk about the hobby, some sports, chat with you guys, whatever you guys want to talk about. Just put it in the chat, and we'll see if we can hold a room here, because this isn't my normal live stream, and I don't know if Joel says, have I heard of MetaZoo? I have not, and I'm going to see if I can pull a comment up. All right, so if I click on that, it does pull up the comment. I'm new to navigating it on my phone, because usually when I live stream from my phone, I'm in my car. I love podcasts says, what's up? What's up? How you doing? Look up MetaZoo. I can't look anything up right now, Joel, because I'm streaming from my phone and I don't have a computer or anything in me. So I'll have to, or with me. So I'll have to look it up later. So see, Blue Thunder TD, the Seahawks going to play in the Super Bowl. I don't know about that. They're in a tough division. Their division is going to be tough to win, let alone go to the Super Bowl. So we'll see. Chris, how you doing? Roman says, finally, I've returned back to the live stream. Well, it's only was 1 week. It's not like I've been gone that long. I just missed Monday night. And I do the live streams, the live drive stuff. But yeah, a lot of people are not really expecting it tonight. So again, might not have the normal viewers that I normally have. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the market. Like, the basketball card market right now is starting to get hot. Dave G says, let's see, what's up? What do I think is the best buy for $80 right now in any sport? Best buy for $80. Are you talking about a raw card or a graded card? And Joel says, if you don't buy basketball soon, you'll miss the boat. You're kind of missing the boat on the basement on a lot of players already. But there are still some bargains to be had out there. I'm actually buying some players that aren't playing, and I've chatted with Joel, but I'm buying Dwayne Wade stuff. I'm buying Shaquille O'Neal rookies again. And you guys remember how bullish I was on Shaq this time last year, and then his stuff really spiked. And like, I almost talked about Shaq till I was blue in the face. Now his stuff is back down, and you can get some of his nicer stuff, like even like his more rare stuff than like his Topps base. You can get some of his more rare items for the same price, which I think are good. But I think Dwayne Wade, his Topps Chrome 2003 PSA 9, I think that card right now is too low at around that $240 price tag. When you look at the LeBron, the exact same card, exact same set, exact same everything is $5K. Yes, LeBron is LeBron. His cards are going to draw a premium. But is a PSA 9 LeBron Topps Chrome $5,000 and a Dwayne Wade $240? Does that make much sense? Should a Dwayne Wade be half the value of the or the LeBron? Probably not. Probably not $2,500. But should that be an $800 to a $1,200 card? I definitely think that it should. So right now at $240 on those, I just think that's a really good deal, and I think it's very safe. I don't think that card can get a lot lower. Now, you may have to hold a little bit. That goes for Shaq as well. You may have to hold and wait for a catalyst on these players, but these guys, especially Shaq, is a top 10 player all the time, and Dwayne Wade's could be arguably in the top 20. So it's like these guys just need a catalyst because they're not playing, so their stuff is gone down. Like the market as a whole went down, and a lot of stuff is recovering. A lot of players that are rebounding right now and going up are players that are coming into the season and they're starting to build up hype. You know, Zion stuff is going up. Tatum stuff is going up. Donovan Mitchell starting to move a little bit. Ja Morant is moving. A lot of these guys are seeing like 20% increases on some of their cards, at least on a lot of the cards that I've been looking at over the past, month and a half. I remember when Ja Morant Concourse Silver, which is a card that I really like for its value, the Concourse Silver Ja Morant Select PSA 10 was a $400 card. At the same time, his Silver Prism PSA 10 was anywhere between 12 and 1400. It was, it just didn't make sense to me that the Select Concourse, which is a more rare card and a better looking card, was only a third of the value of the Silver Prism. But I was watching that card. That card's now selling over 500. So you're seeing, it was going for 400. Now it's going for about 520 to 550. So you're already seeing a 20% increase. The floor on that card is gone, and it goes across the board for Zion. It goes across the board for Luka, for Tatum, Donovan Mitchell. The Aaron Fox is moving. And I've not been using the market movers and stuff. I mean, I have a link to that and an affiliate and all that just because it helps out the channel, but I don't pump that. I've just been noticing this because this is stuff that I look to buy, and I look at it on my watch list, and I look at what I was able to buy it for last month, and I look at what it's going for now, and I can just plain out see that these prices are seeing increases. Michael says when Shaq explodes, people will be kicking themselves. Klay Thompson, I'm not super huge on Klay Thompson just because we went through this last year where his stuff tanked and then people bought it and then he got hurt again. And the thing is, and this is the funny thing about the NBA, is when players aren't playing during the season, their stuff doesn't tend to go down. So when you look at Klay Thompson last year, he got hurt and you would have thought that his stuff may have tanked, and it didn't really tank. When players are out of the lineup, their cards just tend to stabilize. They don't go down because people start buying them thinking that I better get in on them now because they're going to be a good value. They're going to go up when they come back. But if the cards don't go down when the players are hurt or out of the lineup, then it doesn't leave a lot of room for the cards to go up when they come back because they just kind of sit at the same price that they were already at before the injuries. I know that sounds kind of weird, and you would think that the market wouldn't reflect it like that, but it kind of funny how it is. Jason B says, Steve, do I think buy it nows could start moving a bit quicker with PWCC items gone? A little less competition for eyeballs, maybe. I don't know, because PWCC did buy it nows as well as auctions. To be quite honest, I've bought stuff from PWCC, buy it nows. I've bought auctions. I never felt cheated off buying from PWCC. People consign their items there for the price that they want PWCC to list them at. And people respond to your best offers. It's not, it's not PWCC that does it. If they consign something at a buy it now, that person responds to it with their price. And again, until eBay comes out and says how they actually caught PWCC shill bidding or show some proof or something like that, because we know it happens, but it happens with everybody. I was shill bidded out of an auction last night off of a regular old eBay seller where at least the person that I lost the auction to was an account with 0 feedbacks. So if it wasn't a shill, it was somebody winning their first auction. So either a circumstance or a shill. But and that was just a regular old eBay user. We'd be foolish to think that, PWCC, all they do is shill and they're the only ones. Just because PWCC is gone doesn't mean it's still safe or 100% safe to buy, on eBay, because you're not going to get shilled anymore. I mean, we know of other big sites and consignment companies that do it. We don't have the proof, but it's just there. Anytime that I'm buying an item or watching an item and I start bidding, I will look at the bid history. I want to see who I'm bidding against. Am I bidding against someone with a lot of feedback or someone with very little feedback? And a lot of times, if I see I'm bidding against someone with very little feedback that's putting in a bunch of bids, I just pull out. I'm like, okay, this is being shilled. It's not even worth my time. I'm going to overpay. And I do that with regardless of who the buyer is. It doesn't matter if it's PWCC or Probstein or another big consignment or auction house. I do that as an eBay buyer to protect myself, regardless of who I'm buying again or buying from. And PWCC is going to just start their own platform, which is going to be competition for eBay. Again, if you want to take the conspiracy theorist approach to this, you can say this was just eBay knowing that PWCC was pulling out and to become a competitor, and they just wanted to try to tarnish PWCC, because it's funny how PWCC is the only person that eBay is focusing on about this. Missing a lot of comments. The comments are harder to see because I can only see like 3 to 4 comments at a time on my phone guide instead of a whole list. So if I go by somebody, it's just because Will says we need order restored to the universe. Can Luca's mom at least start signing for him again? Yeah. High-end products like National Treasures, not only is it ridiculous to me that you're having to start questioning the authenticity of some of the autographs and things like that, it's ridiculous to me that these are sticker autos. So, that's basically what creates this. You get sticker autos that you send off to a player to their house and have them sign a roll of stickers and send them back for you. They can do whatever they want to do with them. They can have anybody sign them. Yes, they could do that with a card as well. But you could also have the cards signed in person where you bring somebody into your company and actually witness it happen. I know with COVID and everything going on that Panini's excuse was, we don't want to use player or game worn material, or we don't want players handling the cards and doing on card signatures. And I get that. That was, protocol. But we're a year after that now and they're still doing it. So now to me, it's just lazy. But as long as people keep buying it, as long as these big breakers keep spending big money on it and people are buying into these breaks and things like that, they're just going to continue to do it. People are going to complain about it, but they're still going to buy it. And so Panini doesn't care. All they care about is if you're going to buy. So if you're going to buy, they don't really care. They'll listen to your complaints, but as long as you're still giving them money, a complaint is just a complaint until you start to hurt their wallets. They really don't care. And the big breakers are going to continue to shell out big money for high-end product because people are going to continue to buy into the breaks and things like that. And, basically there's, no backlash or nothing that's going to hurt Panini in this other than, okay, we got some people complaining, but oh, well, we're laughing all the way to the bank because right now that's what they're doing. Let's see. Yeah, the Miles Bridges and Mellow Ball thing. Let's see. PSA Slab guys had a good one, but the comments flew by. Oddball or non-sports investments I'm looking at. There's nothing that I specifically ever go out and look at. And the oddball stuff, to be fair, I don't necessarily look at as an investment. A lot of the oddball stuff is stuff that I buy for my personal collection. My most recent PSA video where I was kind of making fun of a PSA 8 Jimi Hendrix sticker because I had a PSA 7 and I showed a Van Halen sticker. And in the background, you saw a lot of my rock and roll stuff because I set that up. A lot of that stuff is PC stuff. It's out of the box items. Yes. I got it for good deals. Yes. Has it gone up a lot in value? Yes. Am I looking to sell it? No. You know, I didn't buy that with the thought of it being investment. Now, I like the 1975 Marvel stickers in good grades. You know, 8s would be okay, but I like them at least to be in 9s. 10s are kind of expensive. But again, I don't know from an investment standpoint, you know, if I buy, like I just picked up an Iron Fist and I grabbed that Iron Fist off my slabs for 80 bucks, a 1975 Marvel sticker PSA 9. I grabbed it off my slabs for 80 bucks, but I bought it with the intent of, okay, this is going to my PC, not with the intent of this is 80 bucks and maybe a year or two from now it might be 200 bucks. You know, I didn't buy it with that mindset. So, you know, same with the Walt Disney card. There's lots of out of the box stuff that I go after, but because it's fun, it's different, it's refreshing from the sports cards. Because sometimes, you know, watching games and um, researching stats and researching players, you know, not just the players, but their age, their, you know, everything about them, scouting reports on players. Is someone getting to a certain age to where you no longer want to invest in them, things like that. Um, just like I was looking at a few Bam Adebayo cards last night because they were a really good deal. Same with some Pascal Siakam stuff. But I like to go back and I like to look and I'd be like, okay, how old are these guys? So I know that they're rookies from 2016 and then Bam from 2017, Spicy P from 2016. But what's their age? How old were they when they were drafted? You know, I think Siakam might be pushing 27 and Adebayo might be 24. So to me, I'm like, they're 1 year apart in the draft, but they're like 3 years apart in age. So sometimes that's one thing I like to look at. And I kind of got off the whole investment thing, but it's just talking about some of the research that I do when I look about buying a player. I mean, you look at players like De'Aaron Fox and Devin Booker, and you're like, well, they're coming to league in 16 and 17, but or 15 and 17, but look at them, they're still really young. It's like Jason Tatum, 2017, is still super young. He's coming to league a lot younger than the average. Oh, trigger finger in the house. I got to pull this comment up. You take Monday Night Live off and Pwcc gets kicked off eBay. Alt gets caught stealing. One thing about alt is when I was at the National, people were talking about alt and they were talking about how great it was. And people were saying alt is a game changer. And I was actually walking the floor, I think, with Michael Ham. Michael Ham, if you're still in the chat, you probably remember this. We were walking around. It was the same lady that Michael Ham that you wanted to buy the John Lynch rookie card off of. If I'm correct, I believe she was the one that was like, because she was looking up comps on alt, I think. And she was like, alt's just a game changer. And I remember saying, what's alt? I mean, so this was at the National. I didn't even know what it was. I was like, what's alt? And they were, you know, telling me all about it. And but I never made an account. I never did anything with it. So I don't have to be like, oh my God, my information might have been compromised. But let's be real, your information can be compromised anywhere. I mean, I'm staying at a hotel in Pennsylvania. They got my information. I mean, I just got to trust them with it. So it's like, you know, but the rest of your comment says, alt gets caught stealing, PSA grading video, retro hoops collection pops up, a retro hoop collector pops up, the ball and bridges auto scandal pops. I didn't watch retro hoop collector's video. I just saw one pop up maybe an hour or two ago. I was at dinner with my wife, so I'll watch that later as I'm trying to fall asleep here at the hotel. Select overprinted video for Sports Card Investor. Yeah. Everything's overprinted. I get that Select was the one sacred hobby product that was everybody's go-to as far as, okay, it's not overprinted. It's a very nice. It's got nice parallels. It's got everything that you want from a hobby standpoint and a collector standpoint and an investor standpoint. Again, like I said earlier about the national treasures and sticker autos and bogus patches, Panini's laughing all the way to the bank. You know, they're a business and they're going to pump it up, pump it out, you know, to make as much money as they can. And as long as people keep buying it, they're going to keep doing it. I'm going to try to stop by a card shop on the way home tomorrow and actually pick up some wax, maybe some hangers and some blasters. I want to give it away on the channel. I need some product to give out, maybe do some super chat giveaways starting next Monday. But Steven's talking about the big breakers selling product for Panini. I mean, breakers will break anything. And because people feel like they can get a shot at hitting a lottery ticket, you know, buying into a break, they probably have a better shot at just going down to the 7-Eleven and buying themselves some scratch offs. But yeah. Blue Thunder TD says breakers is what hurts the hobby the most. I don't know. I mean, people talk a lot about what hurts the hobby, and I think people focus too much on that. I think people have been focusing a lot on, okay, this hurts the hobby, but nobody is focusing as much on what helps the hobby and what's positive in the hobby. I would rather talk about that kind of stuff, because if I focus on what hurts the hobby, I'll fail. I'll fail in my investing. I'll fail in my collecting, because ultimately my investing leads to my collecting. And I look at the positives. Yeah, breakers may have a certain negative effect on the hobby, but I'm sure that you could also spin it in a degree to where it's also positive in some people's eyes. It allows some people to get product when they wouldn't normally be able to get product. I can't go spend $4,000 on a box of National Treasures, but I can pay a couple $100 or whatever it may be to get into a break. And that gives me, not me, but I'm speaking from someone who does breaks. But that gives someone that adrenaline rush. It gives someone that hope of getting something. Even more times than not, they're probably let down. However, the rush that you get from opening a pack or something like that, and you just can't get your own product. So it gives people, if you want to put a positive spin on it, that's one thing that it does do. It also drives up prices. So you just have to be careful about what you're looking to buy and things like that. Let's see. A bunch of comments went by. Let's see. Dang, a lot of comments went by. All right. Brett says he's noticed some Kobe cards rising in value. I wonder if upcoming Kobe Day or potential doc announcement is affecting this at all. My thoughts. I haven't really noticed. I haven't been following Kobe's market. I have a couple Topps flagship graded in 10s, but they're put away. They're not even in my box that I carried to the National or carried to shows or anything I'm looking to sell or move. I know that the market is kind of down on them right now. I'm still way up. I was buying Kobe PSA 10s, 96 Topps papers when they were $600. Should I have sold when they were 6,000 or 7,000? Yes, I should have. However, I didn't. Now they're back down to maybe 2,000 to 2,500. I'm still not looking to sell or get off of them, so I really don't follow the Kobe market. I just have those put away. So they're not even in my cards that are on my desk. They're not in my cards that are in my cases. They're upstairs, actually locked in a whole entire separate box with a lot of my vintage stuff. So my thoughts on that, there will be a time every year, definitely throughout the next 5 years at least, where Kobe prices spike. We've already seen it last season happen. Because you have the Kobe Day and things like that. There will always be something like that that's a catalyst to drive his popularity through a certain window. Michael Ham says, if she was going off the wrong comp too. Oh yeah, they were giving people $50 off for signing up to National. Yeah, going back to alt. Bought a Kobe White RPA, $50. Thoughts? What RPA was it? Was it graded? Was it raw? Which one is it? That's a little bit random. Give me a little bit better description on the card. I'll give you my thoughts. My thoughts on Kobe White right now, in general, if you just want me to speak about Kobe White, is he was somebody that I was kind of high on going into last season. He averaged more points per game, but I think his shooting percentage was down. The Bulls are in a win now situation. Chicago wants a winner. So they're not even trying to take time to develop their young talent. I mean, look, they got Zach LaVine. They made the big trades before playoffs last year to try to make a playoff push. It didn't work. They went out and added another player. They brought in Lonzo Ball. So now that backcourt is even more crowded than it already was. Kobe White will not be starting over Zach LaVine or Lonzo Ball. I think out of all the transactions that have actually happened so far this season, I believe Kobe White is the biggest loser on that end. Now, I'm not saying Kobe White himself as a person is a loser. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but he's going to lose minutes. If Chicago was really looking to develop him and they were confident in his abilities, they wouldn't have brought in Lonzo Ball. So I really don't know where I stand with him. Yeah, he can score. Yes, he's very inconsistent. Yes, he needs to develop his jumper because that's his strength. He's not going to overpower anybody. And as a young player, you need to progress with your jump shot year after year until you get better and better and better and can shoot off the screen and things like that. But he just didn't do it last year. It actually almost like he regressed a little bit, even though his points went up. He took a lot of shots. So I'm not buying Kobe White right now. I would be a liar if I told you I haven't looked at some of his cards. I have, but they have to absolutely be the best price point in order for me to buy any of them. People are down in the lobby. They're loud. I'm on the second floor. People in the lobby feel like they got to yell to talk to each other. Let's see. Panini using sticker autos is a joke. Totally agree. All right, guys. I can't even tell when the comments come in because on the phone it doesn't put a time by it like it does at, like it does on the computer. So, let's see, what's my thoughts on the NBA market after PSA catches up with the majority of their backlog? The market as an entirety will be strong. The 2019-20 class and going forward, base prisms are going to be, they're already in massive supply. I mean, when you look at Zion 2019 Prism base, I think is the most graded card in the PSA population ever already, ever. And it's only been out for a little over a year. I'm going to yell at these people to shut up. But you're going to see that with a lot of the rookie class because everybody was being sent in to be graded, whether they were good, bad, or ugly. Like all of the players, everybody was being sent in just because it was so cheap. And just by putting a PSA 10 slab on a base card, it was 10xing it regardless of who the player was. Now the market has smartened up. So a lot of these slabs are going to be junk slabs. On the players that are undeveloped players, there's going to have to be a huge demand to meet that supply for those Zions and John Morants and even Tyler Heroes. Going back to 2018, the Luka, we've already seen it. To be honest, I believe Luka Mosaic from 2018, I believe Luka Mosaic sells better than the Luka Prism. Now, the Luka Mosaic has low pop counts. It's a nice looking card. Now, it's not a parallel, but it looks like a parallel. All 2018 Mosaics have that Mosaic shiny look to them. I believe that Luka and Trey actually sell for more than the 2018 Prism base. That's a secret, sneaky card. So I do believe the market as a whole will be strong. I think there will be certain cards that are highly affected by the pop reports, mainly base Prism and things like that. And it's only going to be really effective from like 2017 and forward, because I believe Tatum PSA 10 Prisms are pushing over 5,000. In my opinion, that's quite a bit. People will turn to another card, Optic Hollow. I look for a surge in Optic Hollow with people starting to be down on Select. Now, I don't think they'll turn on the older Select product, but people like the rated rookie symbol. It's nostalgic. It's iconic. It looks good. Optic's a clean card. They fell to third. It used to be Prism Optic Select. Now it's Prism Select Optic. I could see Optic bumping up back into that second position. I could see Prism, in the New Year's falling down to like third. And look at Optic Hollows of guys like Zion. Optic Hollows of guys like Zion sell for quite a bit of money. Not as much as a Silver Prism, but pretty good, pretty strong. So Optic, I believe, is a good play right now. I used to be a Select person. I always liked to buy the third most popular product. I thought that was the best bang for the buck. Now the Select has bumped up and Optic has fallen to third. Now all of a sudden, in my opinion, it makes Optic the best bang for your buck. So I've actually been buying Optic Hollows Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox, optic hollow stuff. It's a good price. And when you look at Patrick Mahomes in football, the 2017 optic hollow is like a 5K card now, over 5K, I believe. So when you look at Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Donovan Mitchell's optic hollow is like $450. Jason Tatum's like $750. De'Aaron Fox is like $300. You look at a lot of these guys and you compare them to optic hollows of the football players, and you're like, there's some sneaky value in. There's some sneaky value here, and I believe that is the kind of stuff that will hold. Again, I keep taking a comment and talking about a lot more stuff, but Nixon says, I think eBay playing dirty tricks on PWCC because they have been moving more business to their platform and away from eBay. I don't think eBay are angels. No, they're not. I mean, eBay didn't take issue with PWCC until now. eBay has a lot of money to lose by PWCC pulling off their platform. So let's put that into perspective. The biggest selling auction house and consigner pulling off of your platform costs you quite a bit of money. However, what's going to cost you more money? Them becoming a competitor. So if you already know they're going to become a competitor, it's going to cost you more money than what you're already going to lose from them, pulling off your platform, then why not try to tarnish them or give them a black eye as it's happening to try to save yourself or try to make yourself look better or superior or like you care, to your consumers. And now eBay is looking like the saint and PWCC is looking like, the demon. So, everybody's blasting PWCC about this. Oh, it's about time. It's about time. It's about time something's been done about PWCC. And they're praising eBay for doing it. My question is, why did it take so long, eBay? Like, you're getting all this praise, but why did it take so long? Why is there other consignment houses that do it? Why is all kinds of people do it? Like I said, it happened to me last night from just a regular seller. But eBay doesn't care about that. They only tend to care about the person who's about to become probably their biggest competitor. Business 124, what's going on? How you doing? Jeff Whitmire, HGA, is in your hometown, Knoxville. You want to support local biz? What's my opinion on low to mid-level cards being graded at HGA? I mean, my thing about HGA is when you customize, anytime you customize something, you cut out a certain demographic of buyer because not everybody likes the same thing. So if I want a custom label on my slab because I think it looks awesome to me, it may not look good to somebody else. Now, if you just have a standard label and it's just standard and it's the way PSA does it or the way SGC does it, you either like the label or you dislike the label, but you're going to buy that brand because it's that brand. I think with HGA, people aren't necessarily buying the brand because it's that brand. They're buying that brand because they like that customization. But then when you try to remove that card on the secondary market, 50% of the people might like the label that's on it, and 50% of the people might not like that custom label. So when something's customized as opposed to the standard, and I'm not saying everybody likes PSA labels or SGC labels because people really don't, but it's the standard. It's what's expected. And when you have different kinds of labels customized to someone's personal liking, when you make it personal and you personalize it, you customize it, you cut out a demographic of sellers, if you want to move that card in the future. If you want to PC that card, then that's great. Their slabs are really nice. I have a slab, but I have a card that's a liquid card. It's a Zion Select Courtside in a 9.5, and I can't move it. I could probably move it at the right price, like if I really wanted to just sell it cheap and get rid of it, but I can't move it at any competitive value level. And the slabs are really nice. They're really sturdy. They're a little bit big. And I don't know. I just feel like it's really hard for any new grading company to gain traction. I mean, look at SGC. They're by no means new. They're actually been around longer than Beckett. And SGC is still trying to gain traction on the secondary market. And I love SGC. I like PSA, but I know that there's certain cards I can't send to SGC because it's not worth it to me from a money standpoint, and vice versa. There's certain cards I can't send to PSA because it's not worth it to me from a secondary market standpoint, or it's not cost effective to grade a certain card at a certain price. With HGA, I don't personally use them. I did try to use them back when their queues were packed and I couldn't get in. So that was another thing. I just gave up. To me, going there every Thursday or every Friday night and trying to get into the queue, it got to a point to where I just stopped. You know, after like 4 weeks of not getting in, I just was like, you know what, I'm not even going to try anymore. So for me, I'm not buying HGA on the secondary market unless it's something I want to PC. And at the moment, I'm not sending anything to HGA. That's just my stance on it. And people out there there might be some people out there that love it, but you're also going to have people out there that hate it. And like I said, when it comes to something that's standard, whether you love it or hate it, it's standard. But when it comes to something that's customized, whether you love it or hate it, you're not going to buy it if you hate it. But you'll buy something if it's standard, even if you hate it. Business 124, what's going on? Let's see, we're going back down. Ryan Basketball says the queues are wide open now. I see that. Let's see. Michael Ham says I watch his channel. Just think there's be a hold to release on cards based on grading groups. So it looks like more. I'm not sure 100% whose channel. I'm not 100% sure. Bark Charles Lee says, give us a tour of my house. This would be a long tour because I'm actually in a hotel. But yeah, I'm actually in a hotel. Dave G says my thoughts on the current Mosaic product. I think it's a great entry-level product. I was talking to Michael Ham about football product and where is football Mosaic, because it was like the first decent product that opened the season last year. And he said it's not even on the release sheets yet. So I don't know if they're doing away with it for football or if it's being produced late or whatever. I don't follow that type of stuff. Michael Ham filled me in on that. Now, I think it's a good entry level product, though. You know, when you start getting out of Prism, Select, and Optic, I think it's a fourth option. I like Revolution as well, but it is a chromium finished product where Revolution is not. However, Revolution has nice designs to it. It has all the parallels that you like. It has autographs. I really think it's a nice low to mid-end product that someone can get into at an entry-level price and still have nice cards. Now, that's my thoughts. That doesn't mean that's what the market thinks. So again, do I think low pops is going to turn to people wanting to buy those and those eventually surpassing another one of the products? I don't think so, because I think there's too many other products like Optic and stuff that are superior and aren't as mass produced. Because I mean, Mosaic was really pumped out. It was a big time retail release last year. So it is tough to grade, but you got to also think, and the pop reports are lower, but also a lot of the Mosaic that was submitted to PSA is the stuff that's in the backlog. It was right around that time that the Mosaic started being submitted that PSA did their shutdown. So there's got to be a lot of Mosaic basketball, in my opinion, sitting at PSA. Let's see. You're going to see what a LeBron rookie sells for an HGA slab. Which one? Which rookie? And I know to the right person will buy it because the slab it'll look good in that slab, and somebody will want it. When you talk about a high demand player and a low supply slab, if you get the right set of eyes that wants that customization, then you're looking at but you got to get the right two people going back and forth for it. Collector, how you doing? Tal, what's going on, man? How you doing? Tal, you're not too late. Sean Him says you can finally catch a live. Yeah, Wednesday. I don't usually do my lives on Wednesday, but chilling at the hotel, nothing else to do, nothing else to do, and I wasn't able to. Here we go. Josh says he doesn't understand why all the grading companies don't use subgrades. Nothing more frustrating than getting a card back with a lower grade than expected and have no idea why. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But even sometimes the subgrades can just because you see subgrades doesn't necessarily mean you agree with it either. Like you might have a subgrade where you get a 9 or an 8.5 on the corners and you're like, what are you talking about? All 4 of these corners are nice. So again, just because there's a subgrade or something slapped on there doesn't necessarily mean the grade is more accurate. It's still being graded by a human. They're still going to slap the grade on there, whether it's a subgrade or a final grade that they see fit. And it may not always be the same way that you look at a card yourself. Pittsburgh Anthony has a YouTube channel. He sent me a card the other day, and he was also telling me at the National about the grading company that he's doing. Now it's very upstart, called Transparent Grading Team. And again, you know, we don't know how popular it'll be. We don't know how this will how it'll take off, if it'll gain traction or not. But the idea behind it is a very good idea. And when he showed me this at the National before he even started talking about it on YouTube and stuff, I was like, damn, that's a really good idea. And I'll talk about it more because he sent me a card, and I'll show that card in a video, and I'll talk about the way that they do it. But to me, it's an idea that wouldn't surprise me if a bigger company came to him and was like, hey, we love this idea and we want to buy it from you. So I don't know where it'll go. I don't know if that's even something he'd be interested in doing, but he came up with an idea for when he grades cards that I thought was just, you know, it wasn't super out of the box, but it was just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Why hasn't somebody thought about that already? Which comic book companies have. So it's something that, being somebody in the comic books, I should have been like, man, why don't they do this for cards, but they do it for comic books? So we'll talk about it a little bit more. You guys might already know, but let's see. Trying to find some comments here because I miss a lot of them. You guys are talking amongst each other. So the big companies in the hobby have to start paying attention to what the community is saying and give opportunities for all sectors to allow competition, or the hobby will struggle to grow. The big companies, as in grading, which we're talking about, or you mean like the big companies like the distributors, the manufacturers? I mean, what big companies? You know, are you just talking about everything as a whole? Not really sure. Yeah, Mosaic basketball in backlog. Yeah, because the timing of the Mosaic basketball release was right as PSA was backing up and shutting down. There's got to be a lot of Mosaic sitting in that backlog. Now, it's a tough grade. Doesn't mean it's coming back a bunch of 10s, especially now with the urban myth, true or untrue. I'm not here to say whether it is or not that PSA is grading tougher or more tough. But Triggerfinger likes Mosaic Silver. I think Mosaic Silvers look really good also. Brian Basketball says starts with pop reports. I'm not sure what we're talking about. To touch on pop reports, though, everything's not always a direct reflection of pop reports. If it's a card that isn't in high demand, even if it has a low pop report, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden that card's going to be in demand. Because look at other products. You know, say someone is grading hoops. Pop report on hoops are low, but that doesn't make people want it more. The people that want hoops are the people that are on a budget, and like those cards, and they'll buy it. But just because its pop reports are low doesn't mean it's going to chase down the higher end products. It just means that that stuff's not being submitted. And the reason why it's not being submitted is because it's not highly desirable. Because the print runs on the stuff, forget about pop reports, but the print runs on the stuff is all very similar. The only reason we know how much is in the pop reports for like Prism, Select, and Optic and Mosaic is because that's what people are submitting. So if Prism sucked, which a lot of people think that it does, and everybody graded all their Revolution cards and everybody graded all their Hoops cards instead, then it would be the high pop reports that are on those cards. So low pop doesn't always necessarily translate to demand and value for a certain card. Like Joel says, if you have a bum with a low pop report, who cares? Nobody will. And that, yeah, that kind of touches on, I guess, instead of talking about a player as being a scrub and nobody's going to want him regardless of his pop report, it kind of goes that way with the product. If it's a bad product like Illusions and it has a low pop report, nobody's really going to care because nobody wants Illusions. So again, it's going to be, low pop reports on the higher end products. Business 124, Steve, when is the next Philly show? I believe it is September 23rd. Might be the first day of it. That might be a Thursday. So it'd be like the 23rd or the 24th. It's somewhere around that end of September. I do want to go. Originally, I wanted to get a table there. However, I couldn't figure out how to get one. I think they might be sold out. So I'm just going to go for one day. So I will go. It'll more than likely be for one day. And hopefully if I see some people there, this time they'll say hi to me. Like I had a couple people look at me and say, you do content, but they never said anything about who they were. Theodore Weathers, who's usually in the chat, I don't see him tonight, said that he saw me and was standing next to me, but he didn't say anything to me. And I'm just like, dude, will you say something to me? Because I only see T, on the screen. Like I can't, I don't know what he looks like. So Brian Basketball, you're speaking of TGT idea with starting their business with a pop report. The idea behind the and I'm not affiliated with Transparent Grading Team or anything. Pittsburgh's just a content creator friend, and I met him at the National, and he sent me a card. But the idea behind it is like the barcode on the card. You can scan it, and it then like sends you to an app where you can read all the graders notes on your card. So it's not subgrades, but what it is every aspect of your card that they grade, they have on a photo, and they pinpoint the flaws and point to it. And they actually save it as a scan. And I believe, and I'm not 100% sure, that's why I don't really want to speak about it right now, but I believe you're going to be able to access that by scanning the barcode with an app on the back of the card, and it's going to pull up your card and how it was graded by them with the pinpoints to the flaws. And it's like that with comic books, where with a comic book, you actually get graders notes back. You can request graders notes with your book. And if your book grades a certain grade, there's a whole bunch of notes written down by the grader saying why they graded the criteria the way that they did. Okay, the pages were yellowing. Okay, you had a crease in this page or whatever. The binding had two spine ticks in it, things like that. Where with the cards, you get a 9.5, or you say you get an 8.5 on your corners, but you don't know why. They just gave you an 8.5 and that's it. Where with notes, it would be like, okay, my corners didn't get a good grade. Why didn't they? Okay, well, because the lower right-hand corner is rounded and the upper left-hand corner is fraying, kind of like that. Or you have fraying edges, things like that, which I think is a really good idea. And it's a lot of work because they got to input all that stuff individually as they grade it. But it's also a pretty cool idea. Tay says, didn't want to bother me. You got to the show late, never interrupt the hunter. Dude, I wish you would have interrupted me. I never have I mean, I never not acknowledge someone that's from the channel. I stop and try to talk to everybody, and sometimes my highlights from going to a show is the actual interaction with the people that I meet. It's not always about the hunt. I mean, that's great. Finding the card that I want, that's great. Buying and selling is awesome. Trading is awesome. But sometimes the highlight is meeting somebody that I want to meet. So never anyone feel that way about approaching me. I'm not a YouTube celebrity that's going to be like, leave me alone. I'm a guy that was probably will stand there and talk your ear off to the point to where you want to walk away from me. Billy says he's going to send about 500 cards the day they open bulk. Are we talking about PSA? Guys, I did have a PSA order pop. So you guys saw my review late that I put out yesterday. If you look, where I was talking about the Dookie stains on the Jimi Hendrix PSA 8. Not my Jimi Hendrix. My Jimi Hendrix was clean. Somebody else had one with Dookie stains on it. But I had a PSA order pop today. Sunday League Investors, they have a soccer channel. If you haven't checked them out, they're super cool. They're fun to watch. I submitted a 25 card, I believe, 25 card soccer order through them. So I have 25 soccer cards that popped today, and I should be getting back within the week. You know, they'll probably get it back first and do a reveal, then send it to me. But I got some pretty good stuff in that. I'm excited about it. It's older stuff. It's my Bobby Charlton rookies. It's some of my Ronaldinho stickers. There is some newer stuff like some Phil Foden optics in there, but hopefully I get some good grades, because if I get good grades on this return, this will be a good profitable return for me. You said that's a good idea for grading with notes, but I think it would slow down the grading process a lot. And I totally agree with that. Again, and with it being just Upstart, but there could be ways they can make it more efficient. They get more people helping and do things like that. But somebody just came around the corner and it was about to come over here and sit in the lobby, and they saw me and they spun around and ran back the other way like they thought they were going to interrupt me or something. Angel says, who is more beautiful, Mary J. Blige or Alicia Keys? She chooses Mary J. Blige. Yeah, Bryce Harper is playing very well right now, guys. Can't deny that. Peep says my Jimmy is super clean. No doo-doo. No doo-doo Browns on mine. When is Simmons getting traded? It may not happen. But you're my man from Philly. You should have the inside scoop on that stuff. Oh, Brian Basketballs. You think you have the only perfectly round sticker? Let's see. Sean M says Alicia Keys. There we go. There's a vote for Alicia Keys. So Mac Jones tomorrow. I wonder how many series he'll get in, and I'm wondering how many series these starters are going to play. You know, especially when I think there's only 3 preseason games this year as opposed to the normal 4. And usually they get the most playing time in game 3, and then they don't play at all in game 4. That's just for the people fighting for jobs. So with it being game 2 out of 3 now, will they see the most time that they're going to get and not play in game 3? Or will they give them some time in both games and make the game, give them like 3 series in each game, as opposed to maybe an entire quarter or an entire half in just one of the games and then nothing in the other one. I'm not sure how. And some coaches might all do it differently. Let's see. Is Simmons someone to grab? Probably will be a defensive player of the year if he stays. Yeah, but defense doesn't get any respect. I would say, I'm not buying any Ben Simmons stuff. I believe he would have to do a lot go to another team and do a lot for people to gain, for him to gain some momentum, for people to trust in buying his cards again. Card grading and production is all speed and time. They're trying to get out as many as economically possible. Everyone wants them to treat each card like a piece of artwork, making it and grading it. Papa Breaks Packs. How you doing, man? With the money being made by Panini, I want to know what their plan is to use. Damn, where did that go? What their plan is to use some of the money to engage new demographics to join the hobby. Tons of momentum and hope they don't miss out. I don't, I think Panini is just happy making their money, and if they have to spend more of it to grow the hobby, like right now, I don't think that Panini is worried about growing the hobby, because right now they're not worried about hurting the hobby, and with their pricing, with their quality of product, their quality, not just on their high-end stuff where they're using sticker autos and bullshit patches, but their quality control where they're massively producing stuff so fast, cards coming out of packs looking like crap. They don't care about quality control. They just care about how fast they can make it and how fast they can sell it. To me, that's the signs of a company that doesn't necessarily care about growing the hobby, especially if it's going to cost them money. If they cared about anything that was going to cost them money, they would care about the people that are buying for them now, and they would increase their quality control. They would put out a better product for what people are paying, $4,000 for a National Treasures box, and you pull a sticker auto. I mean, it's like, what set products apart from other low end, when you look at an autograph on a Mosaic card or even a Prism or on a Spectra, and it's a sticker auto, and you're like, okay, but it is a lower end product, whatever, that's acceptable. I'll get the higher end products. What made them higher end was that they were different from the lower end, and now they're not, other than the name that's on the card. Spectra, Mosaic, sticker auto. National Treasures, sticker auto. What's the difference other than the name on the card? And I'm not talking about the player name. I'm talking about other than the brand name. Is PSA still baggy lining the sticker holders, like around the borders? It was hard to tell on the Jimi Hendrix. On the Jimi Hendrix, on the smaller stickers, they are not. Okay. And they never did on the smaller stickers, like the smaller Panini stickers and stuff like that. BGS always bags them. I prefer to send my stickers to BGS. They look better in the slab. They put they actually vacuum. I don't know if they vacuum, but they actually seal them in a plastic baggie before they slab them. The only ones that PSA puts a plastic around is the ones that come out in a bigger slab. The ones in the standard size slab, they still just throw them in there, which means if they don't fit in there or sit in there right, or even over time, they can tend to turn on angles, slide all the way down to the bottom, all kinds of bull crap. But yeah, that's why I prefer to send my stickers to BGS. I think BGS as a whole is just a better quality. Slabs are better quality. They do take the time to do the subgrades. The labels look better. Now, are they fancy? No, but they're gold, they're silver foil. They're not just paper with, typed font on it. And they bag up your cards and your stickers with a soft sleeve and seal it before they slab it, which saves it for the long term. See, guys, I'm going to have to skip a lot of comments because a lot of them flew by. So, so it's an interesting take on Panini. So it's up to the community to grow the hobby. YouTubers like yourself are certainly doing your part. More demand. Thanks a lot, man. And like I said, and that's just my opinion. I mean, I could be completely wrong on Panini, but the way that I look at them right now is they're just a money hungry machine. And a machine doesn't have any emotions. And when you don't have any emotions, you don't care about anybody or anything. So right now, Panini's just a money hungry machine that's just pumping out product for the sake of a profit. in my opinion. Dex Flow, I am not a Phillies fan. I'm an Orioles fan. Cal Ripken Jr. was my favorite player growing up. So yeah, I'm a Orioles fan. I live in the East Coast tri-state area, so I live about the same distance from Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Philly. All those cities surround me. I'm about the same exact distance from all three, about an hour and a half from each city. This is a good question. PSA Slab guys, BGS going to communicate with the hobby again before 2021 is over? I don't know what their thoughts are. Like they're missing out a lot. It's unfortunate because they have a chance to capitalize on some business. Now, I have some cards I'd like to send to BGS, but I believe they're going to go to SGC, and I don't mind that because I like SGC. I want to give them my business. I want them to grow. I think they can be the biggest competitor for PSA. I think now more than ever, people are starting to realize that a little bit. And if we can get some more momentum behind that, then something like that can happen. That being said, SGC can't drop the ball like they did last summer. So, or it may not be last summer now, but during the whole COVID debacle, when the other companies shut down and SGC bit off more than they can chew, they're starting to regain some traction after that. Just imagine if they didn't do that then, where they may be now, because they kind of shot themselves in the foot, and now they're trying to rebuild their reputation. But they didn't grade anything at the National. They spent the whole weekend or the whole National building relationships with customers and giving stuff away and just having fun. I'm going to send some of my autographs, my Larry Bird auto, my Tony Hawk auto, some of that stuff to SGC. I'm just going to do it. I think the slab looks good on that kind of stuff. They grade your autographs for free. They don't charge you an extra fee. If I don't like it and someday I want to bust them out, I'll bust them out and resubmit them to BGS or something. But hey, I'm going with the SGC order coming up, guys. You'll see what I'm sending in. Sydney Dolphin says, auto stickers are always slapped on, off-centered, and ugly looking. And here's the thing about a sticker auto. You can get a sticker, a roll of stickers that have been signed by a certain player, and then basically you can place them on any card you want. You can be like, okay, we have 500 signatures of Lionel Messi. Okay. Well, we're going to slap some of these on the Mosaic product. Then we're going to slap some of these on the Obsidian product. And then we're going to slap some of these on, whatever product they want to put it on. Then we're going to put some on the Impeccable. And they basically, it makes nothing special about the card because the autos are signed and then they're stuck on the card. I saw a card that somebody had the other day, and I will say, yes, it was an amazing card, but to me, it really took away from the card. It was a triple auto. It was Messi, Ronaldo, and Pele. Okay, now it was a triple auto of all three of them. However, it was 3 sticker autos. So, and it was a Leaf card. Now, Leaf was able to manufacture the specialty of that card by basically taking a roll of stickers of Ronaldo, a roll of stickers of Messi, and a roll of stickers of Pele, taking a Photoshop photo of each one of them and putting it on the card, and then just sticking the autograph next to their face. And I'm like, yeah, that's 3 awesome autographs to have on the same card, but that card was manufactured. It wasn't organically made. Those 3 players didn't come to the same event and sign that together. They didn't, sign it one by one. Maybe it was sent to one, then sent to the other, then sent to the other. However, it would have had to been done. Basically, it was just Panini had autograph stickers, or Leaf had autograph stickers, and their marketing department sat back and said, what can we do to create the ultimate card? And to me, it's artificial specialness. I don't know if that, what kind of better term to use, but to me, it's not organic. It's like let's sit back in a boardroom as marketing team and be like, okay, what can we do to make the ultimate card? Oh, well, we got some stickers of Messi laying around autos. We got some stickers of Ronaldo autos laying around. We got some sticker paylists. Let's slap them all on one card and tell everybody how special it is. And to me, it's just too manufactured. It's just too artificial, in my opinion. Would I like that card? It would be cool, but I'm not trying to crap on somebody else's card because somebody might own that card and they may love it. It might be the best thing in their PC. And if I had it, I would like it, but I just feel like it loses, some of its luster, in my opinion. With the sticker autos, what's to stop a manufacturer from creating any card that they want to create? You could take a deceased player and put it with someone who's living now. Like you could take a cut auto of someone who's deceased, like Hank Aaron, and then you could throw a sticker auto of Griffey on with it. And now you got a dual auto of Hank Aaron and Griffey, but it's artificially made. These guys weren't together signing this card. Is Pujols retiring this year? This is a good question, Theodore. I think that he might come back. Actually, when he went to the Dodgers, he started playing better than he did with the Angels. I don't know if he's still playing solid, but a 700 home run chase would be special. Baseball needs it. The ratings need it. It would be great for the hobby. It would be great for Albert Pujols because he's been a great player through his entire career. Be the fourth person in history to do it. I would like for him to pass A-Rod in homers and move in the fourth by himself because he passed Willie Mays for fifth. And then you're talking about Barry Bonds, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, and Albert Pujols. I mean, put that into perspective. I saw Barry Bonds do it, but people are always going to say there should be an asterisk there. Hank Aaron, I didn't see him do it. I wasn't old enough. Babe Ruth, I didn't see him do it. I wasn't old enough. If Albert Pujols does it, I'll be able to say I saw his entire career, and he's mentioned in the same breath as Hank Aaron and Babe Ruth in the 700 home run club. Michael says even if he comes back, he won't get 700. I'm not sure, Michael. He might, because he might be 25 away or something by the time that comes around. And I know 25 is probably above his seasonal average. But if you think that if there were games that didn't mean anything, and pitchers wouldn't be friendly to him, yeah, in the end you might say, oh, that was artificial. People talk about Brett Favre getting sacked by Michael Strahan and breaking the single season sack record. And they're like, oh, well, Brett Favre just kind of fell down for him. But it's still the single season sack record. Traeger says, A-Rod's going to insert J-Lo nude cards into packs if he buys Panini to get back at her for their breakup. Oh, I think I saw her back with Ben Affleck the other day. Anyway, I would buy one of those cards probably. People coming in the hotel late. It's like 20 after 10. You'd be checking in now. You'd not be getting your money's worth. How old do I think Pujols really is? You're guessing early 50s. I'm not really sure. If he's in his early 50s, he's still hitting the ball out of the park. So age doesn't matter at this point. Rather he's 48 or 52 at this point. Doesn't matter. What do I think about investing in Bonds? His cards seem underpriced to me. Well, Bonds falls into the junk wax era category. So, he has things against him. People in the hobby either love him or they hate him. There's no people like on the fence. If he was inducted to the Hall of Fame, I think that would clear his name in a lot of people's heads because if he's being accepted now by baseball, then he's going to be accepted by the people. Same goes for somebody like Pete Rose. But his cards, however, fall into that junk wax category unfortunately, it happens for a lot of great players. Like we talked about Shaquille O'Neal earlier, where he was in the 92 stuff that was just massively produced. Ken Griffey Jr. is a victim of that. So it's like, for those guys, Griffey and Shaq, they have to get past, okay, lots of their cards were printed. For someone like Bonds, he has to get by, lots of his cards were printed, and people need to accept him, and they won't accept him until baseball does. Yeah, Bonds Tiffany is a nice card, but then again, at that point, technically you're talking about a parallel. You're not talking about a base card. People might say, yeah, it's a different set. It's this, that, and the other. Tiffany, it's Topps Tiffany, but it's a parallel. It's just like a refractor. You know, it's the same set, except it's got shine on it. It's glossy. It's got a white back. Hotels in charge by the hour. I hope not. What do I think about LaMelo changing his signature to Miles Bridges' signature? How does his signature? Oh shit! How does the signature company grade Miles Bridges' signature when he signs it for LaMelo Ball? I don't know the full outcome of that. You know, we saw that post by Card Porn, how their autos were pretty much the same. Who signed them, who didn't, it doesn't matter. To me, I don't care because I'm not buying any LaMelo RPAs. They're out of my ballpark, first of all, even if the autographs were legit. And second of all, I'm not going to buy them now because the price that I got to pay for something that may not be legit is just not something that I'm going to sit around and worry about. Like, I know that it sucks for the hobby and things like that, but if I focus so much on that, I'm going to miss the things that I'm actually interested in. Where we at? Theodore says he totally agree. If wonder if Hank Estate has to okay for him to be on a card with someone. Bonds and Aaron, he would turn over in his grave. Funny that Mays is Bonds' godfather. Yeah. I need to get myself some Willie Mays stuff. He's just underpriced in comparison to Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle's market's huge because he's the the Yankees and stuff like that. But Mays stuff is just so underpriced. Doesn't mean that it's cheap, but I've been looking and I can't find anything for nice. So Trigger thinks Pujols would need 2 more years and he'd have to play 80% of the games in both years to get 700 home runs. It may not happen. It might be tough, but what's he going to end this season with? I mean, this season is still going on, and where is he at? Is he at 775? I mean, 675? I mean, 25 home runs isn't unrealistic in any season by any player. I mean, I've seen Brady Anderson hit 51. He went from hitting 8 a season to hitting 51. Yeah, he was on the juice, but still, being an Orioles fan, 86 Fleer update Bonds. That's a nice card with the dark navy blue border, and he's wearing a full yellow Pittsburgh hat. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong, BJ, but I'm trying to think back on when I was a kid. That 86 Fleer update Bonds, I think, has a navy blue border, and he's wearing the yellow Pittsburgh helmet, and he might actually be batting, but it's a closer up photo of like his waist up, I think. Yeah, a lot of these 86 Fleer, a lot of these 84 Fleer update, 83 Topps traded, 86 Fleer update, we look at it now and we're like, man, that stuff was printed a lot. But back in the day when we were buying cards, it seemed like they were hard to find. Like, I remember being like the Topps traded and the Fleer update sets, they were hard to get. And now you look back and you're like, people are like, that's junk wax. That stuff was mass produced. But back then, I felt like they weren't easy to get. Like, the regular stuff was easy to get, but the update and trade sets always seemed like a hard buy or a hard find because they didn't come out in packs. You had to buy the whole set. You basically probably had to find it at the LCS. There probably weren't a lot of LCSs everywhere. I mean, a lot of that stuff may have just been in storage or not. I'm not 100% sure. Brady was so juiced. Here's your ex's favorite player. I think every girl that I was in high school with had a crush on Brady Anderson. He was like all the girls. He looked like the dude from 90210. What was his name? I think the dude passed away actually. I'm not 100% sure. Luke Perry, was that his name? Who was the guy that played in 90210? Brady Anderson looked like him, but was completely jacked. You know, he had abs on top of his abs, and 51 home runs from leadoff. Yeah, Willie Mays big time underpriced. I'm looking to buy some nice Willie Mays. I wanted a rookie at the National in like a PSA 1.5. I would have been happy with. I'd like an SGC 2. I'd like a 1 unaltered, authentic. That's all I care about. I just want one. I want to put it in my PC, and I'll look in Philly. Philly have a nice vintage setup. So Pujols has 677 home runs as of today. He's hit 14 this year. I mean, yeah, say he ends, I don't know if he hits 4 more or not, but say he ends the season with 680. That puts him 20 away. That puts him at 18 this year. That would be a tough Vegas wager. If he went into next season with 680 or 681 or even 682, if that was a Vegas bet, does Pujols hit 600 this year? I bet you that would be crazy because that is a tough call to make. Oh, Hart, sorry. PSA slab guy, give us a vintage football player you like. Okay, let's see. I like all vintage football. It's all underpriced. And now when I'm talking vintage, I'm talking pre-1970. Okay, I know vintage to some people is the 80s, is Jerry Rice and even Barry Sanders and stuff like that, which is late 80s. To me, when I'm talking vintage, I'm talking pre-70s. I like Jim Brown stuff. I like Johnny Unitas stuff. I like Bart Starr stuff. I like the guys that you would used to see on the after-school special, NFL shows, NFL Films presents stuff. If you're talking about in the 70s, I like Walter Payton. I think Dan Fouts is super underpriced. He doesn't get any respect because he never won any Super Bowls. He's very along the lines of Dan Marino. Dan Fouts is. I remember when Dan Marino was breaking all the records, the one person that he was breaking all the records of was Dan Fouts. And they both had tons of records when they retired, but they both had no Super Bowls. And Dan Fouts is kind of a forgotten player, but was good. I think he's got good, sneaky. I just think he's underpriced, underappreciated. Does that mean the market will wake up or people will wake up one day and start buying Dan Fouts cards? It doesn't. But to me personally, but that's again going to be late 70s, like maybe around 78, 77. I'm just taking a shot. The early 70s stuff, 72 stuff, like Roger Staubach. I'm not big on the Terry Bradshaw stuff. I think there's some defensive players like Mean Joe Green, 1971, very tough grade card. I believe it's 1971, guys. I might be wrong on some of the years. I'm just completely going off memory because I don't own any of these cards. But I believe the Joe Green is a 71 tops with the red border. That'd be a nice card to have graded well. Any of the Pittsburgh linebackers, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, Randy White from the Cowboys. And I know these are defensive players, but these are legends. I just think there should be a little bit more value on that stuff. Now, I'm not saying defensive players as a whole, but some of the older defensive players. Kellen Winslow, Ozzie Newsome. Now Kellen Winslow is like from 81, so we're getting into the early 80s. But yeah, if we're talking old, Bart Starr, Johnny Unitas, Jim Brown, and these are some names that are no surprise. I mean, they're the legends. Even Fran Tarkington to me is somebody who really dominated his era as a passing quarterback ahead of his time because he was a passer back when, it was NFL was dominated by running. But he's another guy that held a ton of records before a time, throwing for numbers back then that weren't numbers that were being thrown for. Yeah, I said, did I say junior on accident? Kellen Winslow. I said the 1981 Topps, I think, is the Kellen Winslow. So it's definitely not Kellen Winslow Jr. Yeah, Paul's talking about Tarkington as well. See, Namath now, and I'm going to say a lot of things that you guys aren't going to agree with me on this, and that's completely fair. But Namath and Bradshaw for me, Terry Bradshaw for me, from a career standpoint, and I know Bradshaw has a bunch of Super Bowls, but from a career standpoint, I don't think, had the longevity from a statistical output. Like Bradshaw has like the 4 Super Bowls or whatever in the 70s. Namath had the guarantee we're going to beat the Colts, and he pulled it off, and he played in a huge market with the Jets. But when you look at their stats and things like that, nothing really stood out. They were on winning teams that won games. Terry Bradshaw was surrounded by talent, had the best defense in the league, the Steel Curtain, had Lynn Swann and John Stallworth on the outside, had Rocky Bleier and is it John Franco? It's not John Franco. He was a pitcher for the Mets. Franco Harris. He had Rocky Bleier and Franco Harris as the running backs, and he didn't have to do a whole lot. In fact, I think he was the backup quarterback at Louisiana or whatever school he went to, Louisiana Tech. I'm not 100% sure what school it was, to like the guy from Duck Dynasty, like Phil Robertson was like the starting quarterback over Terry Bradshaw in college. You got that right. Those 62 black borders. It just makes it really, really even better. Yeah, Mel Blount was on the Steelers also, but he was a defensive player, right? Yeah, Largent's another guy. Like, I remember when Largent was the touchdown reception leader. I believe when Jerry Rice broke Largent's career touchdown receptions record. A lot of people don't realize that, and it may have been broken by other people since then. But when it was broken by Jerry Rice, I believe it was held by Steve Largent. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think so. This is a pretty good question. Jason says, have any thoughts on the national exclusive cards regarding value? Cards from this year. So here's my thought on the national convention cards. I believe that they're hot and they have value during and shortly after the national, but after the national is over, people tend to look back at them and don't look at them as, I don't want to say a legitimate card, but they almost look at them as promos and not as real sets. And so they don't necessarily chase them. And because I have some low number national cards, not Washington Nationals, but from the national, and they don't draw the kind of money that you would think that they would, especially in comparison of some of the other products out there, just because they almost kind of get locked up into that niche area or into that, they're hot for a minute, then they're not. The national's over. They're going to make more of them next year in a different set, but they just don't seem to hold a lot of collectability to them. And honestly, they're serial numbered. They look okay, but I feel like almost as if they're like cheaply made. Yeah, John Riggins is good. It's impossible for me to name everybody, guys. Just because I didn't say John Riggins doesn't mean I didn't think that he's good. The Diesel, pump it up. Pump up that Diesel. Pump it up. I live near DC, okay? He was a Redskins back when they were the Redskins. Started with the Jets, though. I didn't say Danny White. I said Randy White. Art Monk's another guy. Art Monk was great. Darryl Green. Art Monk was great. Very quiet receiver, though. Forgotten about guy. Charlie Joyner. James Lofton. Was James Lofton good on the Packers? I remember him more so with the Bills during the 90s Bills Super Bowl runs. Jim Zorn. Wasn't Jim Zorn like a quarterback for the Seahawks? You guys are just throwing names out there now. I did say Rocky Blyer. So Trigger Finger says, crazy stat. Joe Namath had more career interceptions than touchdowns. Oh, must be a Patriots fan here. Growing up, rooting for Steve Grogan. And remember the Super Bowl in '85 against the Bears. I think Grogan started that, but Tony Eason finished it. And the Patriots got beat down. And the better team that year was the Dolphins. And the Patriots upset Miami in the AFC Championship in the Squish the Fish game. Yep, Squish the Fish. And they upset Miami. Dan Marino and the Dolphins, the only team that beat the Bears on Monday Night Football, to beat them, period, in that season was Miami. They ran the 56 defense, which nobody could figure out except for Dan Marino. When you run 5 men in the box and you have linebackers playing on the line of scrimmage and all you do is blitz, Dan Marino pick them apart. None of the other quarterbacks could think fast enough, and they would just get eaten up, swallowed by that defense. Dan Marino was all about those hot reads and things like that. He picked that defense apart. Not saying the Dolphins would have beat the Bears in that Super Bowl, but I think it would have been a better game. And I did mention Tony Eason, who was actually drafted before Dan Marino in the 84 or in the 83 draft. If the Patriots had Dan Marino in that game, they might have beat the Bears. Ken Anderson, quarterback for Cincy. Warren Moon underrated, played years in the Canadian Football League for joining the NFL. Yeah, again. Now, here is one thing, and I'm not, this isn't a knock on Warren Moon, but he had really big passing stats because he played in a run and shoot offense. The run and shoot offense is something you don't talk about now because I feel like all teams in the NFL do the run and shoot. But that's back when you played like 4 wide every down and had 1 running back, no tight end, and basically spread the field and throw the ball. That Houston Oilers team he was on ran the run and shoot. Another team that ran it was the Atlanta Falcons. So they were like the first 2 teams like in the 80s running that offense. Now it's like the offense that everybody runs, and that's why passing stats are inflated today. But if you go back to then, that's a big reason why Warren Moon's passing stats were inflated. Now, that's not taking away from his talent because he still had to go out there and perform. So he was able to perform, but he also had lots of attempts. You could say the same thing about Dan Marino. They didn't run a run and shoot, but the Dolphins didn't pass the ball. And in 1984, 85, when he was breaking touchdown records and stuff like that in the single season and yardage records, he had lots of attempts, but he did have to go out there and perform. Let's see, Tony Dorsett. Guys, we're going on an hour and 30 minutes in. Don't know if I'll be around for the full 2 hours tonight if we run out of stuff to talk about. But now Michael Ham says Warren Sapp, greatest inside defensive lineman. I believe there's a little bit of favoritism in that statement, considering that Warren Sapp played his career in Tampa. So, yeah, Warren Sapp was great. Don't know if he was the best. It's arguable, but it's debatable, but it's going to be debatable probably between 3 or 4 players. So it's definitely could possibly be. Dolphins win in 85, just woke the beast. No one was touching the Bears after that. Well, we'll never know. We'll never know. because Dan Marino embarrassed that defense on Monday night, national television. Michael Hamm is asking me who was better. Well, I would have to sit down and really look at older players. From my generation, from the mid 90s through, 2000 or, the mid 2000s, because Warren Sapp was a rookie in 95. I might be wrong, maybe 94, but I'm pretty sure he was a rookie in 95. He was the most dominant, close to the most, pretty much the most dominant throughout those years. But if I was to pull the top defensive tackles, interior defensive linemen from previous years, and maybe even years after that, Cortez Kennedy, which Beavis Cards talks about, he was awesome. And like Joe Green, we talked about earlier. Now, I don't know if he played interior or end. So I would have to look at a piece of paper and be like, oh, yeah, this guy, like guys like Alan Page, stuff like that. And I could be wrong. I could be off on his position. Like, again, I didn't get to see these guys play. But Reggie White played outside, though. Joel's talking about Reggie White. But Reggie White played defensive end, just like Bruce Smith played defensive end, not interior. Howie Long was a badass. What's his name? Lyle Alzado was a badass, but he was really juiced up. Yeah, Sapp, a rookie in 95. What? I don't know what Trigger's talking about. The Dolphins were down by 5 points in the Super Bowl with 35 seconds left in the game and 2 timeouts left with the ball at the opponent's 11-yard line. Or if, are you asking me, is this going to be a Lando question? If. Oh, this is a Lando question, and it's long because I can't. And your top 3 starting QBs were not available. Who would you want to play the last 35 seconds of the game at QB? And what 3 plays would you call in an effort to win the game? Ronda Rousey, Snoop Dogg, Lando Calrissian, or Steve Spurrier? Let's see. Man, I got to try to relate this question to these answers. Ronda Rousey at quarterback, Snoop Dogg at quarterback, Lando at quarterback, Steve Spurrier at quarterback. Steve Spurrier, he's out. Okay, he can't make it in the NFL. We saw him try to coach quarterback. No, forget about it. Let's see. Can't go with Ronda Rousey. It's going to come down to Snoop Dogg or Lando. Let's see here. This might be a Lando night. I might be going with Lando tonight. Actually, I think I'm going to go with Snoop just because I feel like he doesn't feel pressure. Every time you see Snoop Dogg, he's just laid back, regardless of the situation. So, few seconds left to win a game with 3 plays or whatever to win the Super Bowl. He would have the most composure. He'd be the most relaxed, and he'd be the person to get it done. Where's Michael Hamm at? He said, Sean M says Snoop would make it happen. Yeah, Deacon Jones. Yeah. Hey, guys, it is impossible to sit here and think of all the players that have played in the history of the NFL that were great. I can't just, I'm going to forget people. Especially when I didn't even see them. Play other than on highlight reels. And that's the thing. When you see a highlight reel, all you see is people's highlights. Defensive players don't get much love in the hobby in any sport, really. I mean, football, soccer, basketball, like guys that are defensive specialists, like Dikembe Mutombo, Rudy Gobert is a new one. He's a great basketball player, but It just doesn't generate much excitement, I guess. The defensive players that did or do generate excitement, though, do hold value. Lawrence Taylor does hold value. Ronnie Lott does hold value. Ray Lewis holds value. Ed Reed holds value. These guys that were the best on the field at their position, as well as generated a lot of excitement, do have some value. Just like Nick Bosa, he was actually holding some value, his rookie year, because if you think about the 49ers, what was the most exciting part about that team? The defense. What was the most exciting part about that defense? The young rookie, Nick Bosa. He was the face of that team in 2019, and his cards were worth just as much as the quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, because Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't the face of that team. So, again, if you have enough excitement, buzz, and charisma, you can be valuable even if you're a defensive player. However, it's harder to generate excitement as a defensive player than it is as an offensive player. But when is Jar Jar Binks getting his own Disney series? Hopefully never, but it would not surprise me if he did, because Disney is going to milk that franchise for everything that they can. And when all the characters are used up, if they don't create new characters like the Mandalorian, then, who knows? Hopefully never. Lord. Vick made the QB the position it is today, fast, mobile, and a strong arm. It's a shame he got into trouble off the field. He didn't only get into trouble off the field, though. Vick had a couple decent years. They were just very exciting years. He had some injuries. Once he lost his mobility, he became very less effective. So he was never a complete quarterback. Once he started to age and lost the speed advantage that he had over everyone, he just became an average player. For like 2 or 3 years, though, he was a guy that was electric and exciting. He'll always be remembered that way. Almost comparable to Bo Jackson, where Bo Jackson, if you can only imagine what would have happened if he stayed healthy, like Michael Vick, if you could only imagine what would have happened if he would have stayed healthy and young and played in his prime. And that's why his cards hold value, because there's still always the factor, the what if factor, and excitement factor. But to say that he made the quarterback position what it is today, I'm going to disagree, because the most similar quarterback to him right now is Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson, to me, is not the future quarterback in the NFL. Yes, mobility helps, but mobility should never be the prime focus of a quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is very mobile, but he's always looking upfield. Josh Allen, very mobile, runs a lot, but he passes even more. When you rush for 1,000 yards, you need to pass for 3,500. If you're not, then you're a running quarterback, and that's mainly what you do. So, and your career is going to be cut short. People are faster and hit harder, and they're stronger in the NFL than they ever have been because of modern gym equipment and modern medical things and things like that. If you're out there running the ball as a quarterback and taking hits, you're going to have a shortened career, regardless of injury. It's just hits, just taking hits, period. But I wouldn't say that the NFL quarterback is modeled after Michael Vick right now. Not as a whole. Definitely not. Mobile quarterbacks is somewhat of a necessity now because defenses are much better and much faster. So a quarterback has to be able to move the pocket. However, you don't have to rush for 1,000 yards or have rushing be your number one strength in order to succeed. Because eventually defensive coordinators and defenses will plan for that and they'll shut you down. I mean, look what happened to Lamar Jackson. When he was unstoppable, he went from being unstoppable to being predictable. And predictable makes you stoppable. Yeah, Vick's return year in Philly when he wasn't even the starter. He came in, he came back. He was the backup for Philly. Remember, the starter was Kevin Kolb. You guys remember him? Kevin Kolb, Kevin Kolb, and I think Kolb started 4 games. Vick didn't even win the job. I believe Kolb got hurt, and Vick came in, and then Kolb was like never heard of again. I think he might have signed a contract to go somewhere else, maybe Buffalo, but Vick became that team's quarterback, was like the #1 player in fantasy that year, had the best, comeback player of the year, probably close to an MVP type season. Deshaun Jackson was stretching the field for him. He was throwing bombs. And but with that being said, after that season, he returned to being, just a decent player, not like an MVP caliber type guy. Bravos, what's up, man? How you doing? Beavis card says the best combo with Rodgers, Mahomes, where they're mobile enough to extend plays but can throw accurate downfield on the move and not take a hit. And I completely agree with that. And not only are they mobile enough to extend the plays, but they are mobile enough to create and make plays. They can make a long run on the field. Now, they can stretch the pocket. They can buy themselves time to throw downfield. But if worst comes to worst, they can also move. They can get down the field. They can run. Josh Allen is fitting that mold too. Doc Gooden's going to be at the Philly show. Mike Ham says Rodgers is the most accurate QB in the league. What is a douche? Hey, Michael Ham, were you a Brad Johnson fan ever? Did you ever like old Brad Johnson when he won I believe he won the Super Bowl with Tampa? I think Keyshawn Johnson might have been there too. Breeze being the first pick of the second round in the Vick draft would end up being all-time great from that class. I would have, because Chris, Miami passed on Drew Brees, and Drew Brees was coming out of Purdue. And Miami, I believe, in that season was sitting there with the 24th pick. I might be wrong. Again, this is tough to remember. But I think Miami was sitting at pick 24, and Drew Brees falls there. And I'm like, holy crap, we can take Drew Brees. Finally, Marino's replacement. And I think we took Jamar Fletcher from Wisconsin, a cornerback, defensive back from Wisconsin. You guys might have to check my history, but I think that was the year we took Jamar Fletcher from Wisconsin. And Drew Brees falls to San Diego with the first pick of the second round. And let's not forget that San Diego drafted LaDainian Tomlinson in the first round, I think 5th overall. So they got LT 5th overall in the first round, and Drew Brees the first pick of the second round. You talk about winning a draft. That's ridiculous. 2 like Hall of Famers and best at their position of all time drafted first and second. Bubba Smith, wasn't Bubba Smith Hightower? I think Bubba Smith was Hightower in Police Academy. Inglorious Peace says Rodgers is the most overrated QB ever. I think when people start ranking quarterbacks and they talk about placing him in the top 5 ever, that might be a little bit much. However, I do think he's really good. I do think he's really great. I don't think that he may not be top 5 like some people put him. Some people put him fringe. Depends on what sports analyst is talking and who they like. To say that he was better than Peyton Manning, I don't agree with that. Some people might say that, and I 100% don't think so. But to put him in the top 8, I think is fair. So, he's been a great player. So, I mean, overrated in comparison to what? Overrated if you're trying to say he's a top 5 ever. Yeah, that's a stretch. But when you're talking about top 5 ever and top 8 ever, you're kind of like splitting hairs, and it's going to just come down to the individual. And he has won Super Bowl, yes, but his numbers and his awards, they back up a lot of what he's done. I mean, it is what he's done. Let's see. I saw, okay, Paul says Miami passed on him in free agency because their medical staff dinged his shoulder. Yeah, Miami passed on him on Drew Brees because of the shoulder when the Chargers decided to go with Phillip Rivers. But I'm talking about in the draft when Miami passed on him. Miami passed on Brees in the draft. So they had two opportunities at Brees. And Miami actually settled for Dante Culpepper in free agency instead of Drew Brees. And we all know how that worked out. They took the guy with the torn knee ligaments over the guy with the sore shoulder. You are correct, Chris. San Diego did have the first overall pick, and they traded with Atlanta to move back, and they got LT fifth overall. Hold on. Triggerfinger says Inglorious P. Rogers is a stud. At first, I thought he said at Inglorious P. Rogers is a stud, is what I thought he was saying. And I was like, is he talking about Paul Rogers from Bad Company? Feel like making love. But anyway, I thought he was saying Inglorious. Paul Rogers is a stud. But I'm seeing Inglorious P now. Oh, God. You can tell it's time for me to go to bed. I don't think that Rogers is overrated. Like I said, in comparison to what, Brad? Like saying he's a top 5, it's debatable. Saying he's a top 8, definitely. So, like I said, it's splitting hairs when you start talking about somebody being in the top 5. I mean, Marino probably doesn't make the top 5 because he doesn't have a Super Bowl. Does he make the top 8? Again, it's like you can say Marino's in the top 5. Well, he didn't win a Super Bowl, so that bumps him out to 8. Or you can say Rodgers is in the top 8. No, he won a Super Bowl. But let's put him in the top 5. It's all subjective. Lots of numbers are there for lots of people. It's just the intangibles. How do I think Tannehill is going to do this year with Julio and Brown? If you're looking for gaudy numbers, you're not going to get it. Will he play good? Yes. Will he protect the ball? Probably. Will he make plays when he needs to? More than likely. But if you're looking for, 4,500 to 5,000 yards and, 30 plus touchdowns, you're not going to get that because Tennessee is a run first team. So if you're looking for a gaudy stat line, you're not going to get it from the quarterback or the receivers because Derrick Henry is going to touch the ball a lot. Okay. So barring injury, that's Derrick Henry's offense, and Tannehill and the receivers are going to be there to move the ball on, 3rd and short, 3rd and 4. Let's throw a ball underneath and get a first down and then give the ball to Derrick Henry 2 more times. Okay. Let's, 3rd and 6. Let's throw the ball, get a first down. Let Derrick Henry carry the ball 2 more times. That's what we're going to see a lot with Tennessee. So will he be a good quarterback? Yes, he will. He's proven that he can be that. But it's going to be throwing a lot of deep balls, but is he going to be dropping back and getting a lot of attempts and things like that to run his stat lines up? I don't necessarily see that, but he will be efficient. Saw a Kevin Cobb comment. That's where he went. Kevin Cobb went to Arizona. I was thinking Buffalo. Did he ever play in Buffalo? For some reason, I'm picturing Kevin Cobb in a Buffalo Bills uniform. But he did go to Arizona. Could somebody check that for me? I can't pull it up because I'm streaming on my phone. BJ Crystal says, why are Peyton Manning rookie cards so underpriced? That is a great question, but I'm not going to say anything about it because I'm buying some. So, it is what it is. Let them be underpriced for now, and I'm perfectly fine with it. Rodgers or Elway, this is super tough. They're very similar quarterbacks when it comes to their mobility. When it comes to their toughness, I'm going to go with Elway. When it comes to being innovative, I'm going to go with Elway because he was ahead of his time. When it comes to competitiveness and fire, that's a tough one. When it comes to leadership, I'm going to go with Elway again. When it comes to the numbers and the passing numbers, you got to go with Rodgers because the numbers don't lie. but Elway was never really the kind of guy who did tons and tons of passing. When it comes to being clutch, you got to go with Elway. He's captain comeback. You know, Elway wasn't as much asked as him from a passing standpoint because Denver was a good running team, but that doesn't mean that he couldn't pass when he needed to deliver. If they couldn't run the ball and Elway had to drop back 40 times, he would have passing records and stuff just like Dan Marino. They would have had numbers neck and neck. However, Elway wasn't in that type of offense. But Elway could have done anything that was asked of him. So, and Elway won his Super Bowls towards the end of his career, and he was still playing great. It's not like he won his Super Bowls and didn't contribute. And he retired on top and was with the same team the whole time. You know, yeah, he was drafted by the Colts, refused to play, went to the Yankees baseball organization. Eventually, the Colts traded him to Denver for Denver's first-round pick, which was an all-pro guard, Chris Hinton, who a lot of people might not remember, but he was a Pro Bowl guard or offensive lineman. But once he settled into Denver, he was there. Never any disputes on whether he was going to leave or not. He's still with the organization in Denver, for Christ's sake. So I grew up in that era, so I like Elway better. Does that mean that he's better? It doesn't necessarily mean that he's better. My personal opinion, who do I like? I like Elway. But that's me. That's what I grew up on. Brady, Montana, Elway, Manning, Rodgers, Breeze. Is that your top five? We got to have a talk, Michael Ham. Road dog status. Come on now. Oh, no, Terrell Davis didn't make that team. Terrell Davis was great, especially, I think, in their second Super Bowl, but he didn't make that team. Look at that winning drive Elway put together where he ran into the end zone and got helicoptered. But yeah, no, that was Elway's team. He was the leader of that team. Even if Terrell Davis was running for those yards, it was because Elway was behind center. Terrell Davis doesn't run for 2,000 yards if, say, for instance, Bernie Kosar is his quarterback. But all right, guys. Coming up on 2 hours, probably going to get ready to call the stream. It has been fun talking a lot of football tonight. We didn't even talk a whole lot about cards. We talked about football. We talked about history. It was fun. We did touch on cards in the market some, but sometimes these kind of conversations, talking about old school football players and things like that, is even more fun. So, yeah, you got that Broncos offensive line. Remember, they did that zone blocking scheme that Michael Shanahan created. They were like the first team to have that zone blocking scheme. But when you look at the numbers of Rod Smith, Ed McCaffrey, and Shannon Sharp in one season, you can't tell me that Elway was not lighting it up through the air as well. So, you know, they were just great players on that team. So, yeah, and after Terrell Davis left, I remember playing fantasy, and it seemed like every running back that you would play would do good. I remember when Terrell Davis was out, like Orlandis Gary came in and was great. And then like Mike Anderson, I believe was his name, the Sarge, he came in and was really good. And then they even had smaller guys like Quentin Griffin, who came in and was awesome. Clinton Portis came in and was awesome. Now, Clinton Portis was a good runner, but I mean, that zone blocking scheme just worked wonders for whoever you put back there. All right, guys, I'm ready to call it. Thanks for coming and hanging out with the live stream here in a hotel. I'm lonely tonight. Going to go back to the room, get up in the morning. Me and my wife are going to go do something in the afternoon. And then I'll be home. And I have another video coming out soon because I have a lot of content I want to talk about. And sharpshooter, I like that Marino there at 4. I'm not going to argue that one. I like Brady, Montana, Manning. Marino doesn't have the titles, but he revolutionized the game. Anybody who revolutionized the game and was ahead of their time, can you imagine what Dan Marino could do in today's NFL? And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Dan Marino fan. I believe that's just facts. And then you can argue that 5th spot for like lots of people. I mean, you got Rodgers, you got Breeze, you do have Favre. Lots of guys you can argue for that 5th spot. Elway. To me, once you get to that 5th spot, it's kind of a round robin of what do you think is important. So, all right, guys, again, thanks for coming out. It's been awesome. It's been fun. We'll be back on my normal time of Monday next week. Do me a favor, guys, before you leave the live stream, could you hit me a like? So I didn't have as many viewers tonight, so maybe this will get into the algorithm and people will go back and watch it. So just, I don't usually ask, but it would be cool if you could hit the thumbs up for me. Get my video in the algorithm. And Stallback was great. I talked about the guys from 72. I actually brought Stallback up earlier, Tom. I'm not sure if you were here for that, but I was talking about the 72 vintage. People were asking about vintage, and I brought up 72, and I talked about Stallback. I actually brought him up earlier. So, yeah. Again, guys, thanks for hanging out, and till next time, hit that like for me, and we'll do it again on Monday. See you guys later.